All right, so before we go, I want to really cover the e-commerce lead magnet because this is really something that if you sell products and you'll be asking, why am I here? But e-commerce lead magnet is actually quite powerful. In fact, it's a lot more straightforward that I want to share with you. So e-commerce is very simple. You may not need to do like a workshop or a presentation to sell, because if you're doing very straightforward, you can actually set up as a simple discount code or a sample as a bait. You have a lot more options to create big, because if you're already having a product that people might be interested in, well, it's a lot easier. Like the easiest way is that the damn discount code will always work. All right, so you either give them maybe like a $10 discount for the first purchase, or maybe even 50% discount for the first purchase, or buy one free one for the first purchase. Like I recently experienced an online coffee ordering app. Because of the one buy one free one, I got hooked. I've been listening to this brand for the longest time, but I was really skeptical. But because they gave me this buy one free one, I took up, I downloaded the app, and I become a regular. So in fact, that's what we need, because for e-commerce, depending on which industries you're in, right? If you're in fashion, then I think getting the first purchase is quite important, because then eventually they get to experience your quality, and if they like, they will stick with you. I think moving forward in e-commerce, I believe branding will become a very important topic that we need to discuss. So I think we should start looking at how can we build a brand, and eventually, optimizing every touch points like this will be very important. So yeah, or if you are doing a food sampling would be good. You can actually do something like they can taste it, or they can test use it. Let's say, just give them some experience trial or something. All this work. Okay. But when it comes to e-commerce lead magnet, I would recommend to have a slightly longer email nurturing sequence. In fact, you do it because you can. Because for example, right, there are a lot of angles to do email for e-commerce. I mean, as opposed to a lot of people might think that e-commerce, what do I do in email? In fact, there are a lot more things that you can do. Now, let me give you a few examples, right? You can actually introduce your product benefits. I truly believe that if you have a good product, there are many angles of selling the product. So you can actually use multiple emails to tell them about the multiple USPs that you have on the product itself. So that's the first thing that you have to do, because, well, if the moment they come in to grab the discount, definitely they're interested, right? Or when they grab the sample, they're definitely interested. But we may not be that educated or that savvy to really dig enough to understand all the aspects. So because you already have their email, you earn the right to email them and tell them more about your product. And then, of course, the next thing you can do is you can cross-promote other products or other categories. Like if you are selling, say, for example, what do we do that? If you are selling, what was that? Well, let's say vacuum cleaner, for example. You can actually cross it to do something like you can tell them that, oh, I also have this air purifier or air humidifier. So all these things can be crossed, because like let's say if you do fashion, when a person buys a top from you, now you can actually give them, you can tell them about, oh, I also have accessories, I have earrings, I have this and that. So that will increase the likelihood of people to buy more and buy more often, because they may not know. All right. So what else can we do? Yeah, and this is very straightforward, because you earn the right to do this. If your code has an expiry date, you can remind them that, hey, use the code before it expires. So yeah, usually these are all automated lead magnets. That's why for e-commerce, your lead generation or lead magnet creation framework is a lot easier. But then again, you can do a lot more things, because I think the easier way is like, let's say if you have a website, the pop-up, you should actually give them something. You can actually say like $10 right away, or you can even run ads for people to sign up, and you use the MailerLite to send them the code right away, and of course trigger the automation that comes along. Or you can actually do something like, even if you sell on Shopee, Lazada, like e-commerce marketplaces, the moment people buy something, you can start immediately send them a WhatsApp or email or SMS to tell them that, hey, sign up to this, I will give you some discount. And from there, you'll be able to nurture a group of people coming in. So it's really something that I don't think is the rocket science, but you just have to start doing it, start experimenting it, and everything is going to fall into places. All right. So the lead magnet checklist is actually very straightforward. All you need is the bait, whether it's the discount code or the sample. And then after that, you create a landing and thank you. Pretty straightforward. In fact, you must have a landing and thank you. For whatever you do, you must have a landing and thank you, because that's how we track a conversion. All right. And of course, the MailerLite setup, because the moment people sign up and get the thing, they should get the code right away, and you should actually trigger the whole automation coming along. So all these are very important, and always connect them to the next lead magnet. I think this I would say even for all the lead magnets that I'll be discussing. Well, you have to always give people multiple touch points. Like for example, one thing that you can do is if people come in and take the 50% discount or buy one free one, you should actually consider giving another like a few 10 to 15% or even 20% discount code for them to get addicted in buying from you. That worked. In fact, that's what happened. The coffee app, right? What they did was they actually, I signed up because I gotten the buy one free one. Then after that, they have this Tuesday, buy four free one. Wow. I mean, and then from time to time, they give you a 20% for certain occasion. They just keep reminding you to come back. So come on, man. I mean, some people would say that when I give too much promotion, I cheapen the product. No, don't think like that. You are not cheapening the product or your brand. Think from another angle, which is you are building the habit. Just like when we first started having Uber or Grab, like, when all this happened, they were giving promotions like crazy. But now they're making money because we can't live without them anymore. I'm not saying that your product or something that may become something like Grab or Uber, but as we move along, right, digitalization or whatever, the digital transaction or e-commerce or digital marketing should, in fact, I think it's going into the stage of really people start looking at the brand itself. People start looking at treasure the relationship that they are building with the product or the company. So you should start looking into this angle as well. And building habit like that is only going to be beneficial. And of course, you have to work within your, comfortable margin. I'm not asking you to really blow your profit or bottom line and you become losing money in doing this. Well, unless you have some investors and all that, that makes sense. But if not, don't force yourself. Just make sure that you are, doing whatever you can. But then again, because you have already gotten these emails coming in or the phone numbers coming in, do a lot more things, because the moment you have that email is as good as free. Because let's say for Miller Lite, you spend like $20 or $15 for up to a few thousand. Like for our tier right now, it's up to 5,000. I only pay $30 a month. Well, I just need to make sure I make at least $30 back. I'm not losing money anymore, but I can send as many emails as I want to my audience to nurture them. And I definitely, in my opinion, I think email marketing, if you connect all these lead magnet coming in, you will never lose money. Same goes to WhatsApp or SMS. Like for example, right, for some cases, people may say that, these people don't open email that much, but hey, you have SMS. We still open SMS, I think you do. And of course, WhatsApp, some tools are not approved by WhatsApp. You may get discontinued or something. But, SMS is also not very expensive. Definitely cheaper than your advertisement. But here's what I think, now you have a way to get people's interest, to capture people's interest in the most effective way. You have to use it right. All right. So these are 4 e-commerce, so-called not e-commerce, the lead magnet creation framework, which all the resources will be available in the resources section. And you can actually go over to look at the email samples and all that, some checklists and all that. But this, I believe, has given you a very better idea about how can you build lead magnet in a different way. And like I said, all these are guidelines, all these are tools, all these are, like samples and checklists. I think you should start by building. I mean, you can implement all this by following exactly to the dot, but as you move along, you get better. But remember one thing, you might have to go through, but consider every downfall. I wouldn't say downfall, but maybe not that successful in manner as a practice. Have to have that kind of mindset, because you may go through several tests to land on the right one, but not the less it is necessary. That's what I want to highlight to you. So a few things. I think this is very important. You should continuously keep building lead magnets. The benefit of this is the more you have, the more you can connect. All right. The more you have, the better you become. It's all that. So when you have more, automate them when you are no longer doing them. Because like, for example, one of the things that we did was, what was that? I think we have so many. I just turn them into evergreen and all that. It just work. So basically, all you need to do is just connect the lead magnets. And the next thing I want you to do is you want to continuously optimize not just the lead magnet, but the presentation, the flow, the pitch, even sometimes the way you package or even, offer your offer. So all these are, like the moment we build something, everything becomes fluid and live. And we should constantly pay close attention to the details and keep optimizing it. I really have seen way too many lead magnets generated or so-called creators. They are just being too lazy because the moment they build one, they expect this thing to work forever, and they stop kind of like they just stop there. And how can you get better if you stop improvising? That's what I think. All right. So optimization is very important. That's why I don't say this is something that you build it and stick on the wall. That's it. It's a continuous thing. Just like even you have a successful lead magnet, you should always at the constant lookout for the next better one. That's how I think it should be. And don't forget, at the end of the day, if everything is not as working as well, always look back at the offer. And also as a coach, as a creator, or even as a business owner, even if you're in e-commerce, your offer can be different. Your March offer, your April offer, every month you have different promotions. So you have to start looking at what kind of promotion works for you. And keep improvising, keep finding, using the data to make sound so-called decision or the informed decision about what you can do next. And all this can only happen when you start doing things and continuously doing it until you get better and better at this thing. So just this is something I want to promise you before we end. If you work like me to constantly create new lead magnets like crazy for a year, I'm not that crazy. In fact, for a year time, I only built about 20 within a year. But over a year plus, I have about 30 over. And the one that's 6 is about 20 over right now. You'll get better. And the moment you get better, it becomes a lot easier for you to do all these things. Seriously. It is damn easy for me to create a new lead magnet and start talking to it and all that. So, yep, you can do that. You can be like me. So, okay. Now, remember to go back, and I believe you have, a lead magnet audit with me. So all you need to do is to go through that, go to this program, and as and when you have an idea about what you want to do, even if you can set up everything, let me come in and look at whatever you have done. That will be beneficial. But if you are worried, the moment you have a few ideas, let's have our session and discuss about building that. All right. So with that, thank you so much for joining the Winning Lead Magnet Academy. I hope you learned something, and remember, put everything you learn to practice. That's the only way to get better at anything you do. All right. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the future program.